Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm Frank LaBanca, the principal. It's great to have so many with us today to discuss the Washington, D.C. trip. We are very excited for your children. This is certainly a classic middle school rite of passage to take the trip to Washington, D.C. Students have the opportunity to spend overnight in rooms. It's a very exciting time. Please feel very confident that we work your kids hard all day long. They go. They'll start walking at 6 in the morning and they'll be still going at 10 o'clock at night. So we'll get them nice and tired by the end of the day. They'll do 5 to 10 miles a day of walking with us. We'll be tired as well. I think it's a great trip. I've done it, I don't know, 7 or 8 times in different places. And it's a really great opportunity for the students and gives them that experience that is so classic in middle school. I would say we have a lot of people at home with us today. We also have a number of people in person. We want to answer your questions, so we'll make sure we have time for all of your questions. I would kindly ask that if you are at home on the computer, make sure you're muted so you can be heard. I'm going to first turn it over to our team leader, Ms. Carringer, who's going to give a brief overview of rooming assignments, and she also wants to talk regarding a parent square message that was sent earlier today. So to you, Lily.
Okay, hi. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. I did want to say that all students have been roomed. If they handed in a request form, all requests have been honored. And if for some reason they didn't hand in a request, they have spoken to either myself or Miss Perry or Mr. Tauble about a rooming assignment that's suitable for them. So everyone that we've spoken to seems to be happy with who they're rooming with, and that's really nice. The other thing I did want to share, I already shared it on Parent Square, but on Parent Square, I sent out a couple of links. And one of the links is just a survey for the students to pick what t-shirt color that they want. T-shirts come with the cost of the trip, so they can vote and have a say in what they want. I think there's like 4 colors. And then the second link that I sent out was a survey for what size t-shirt they wanted. So a couple questions have come up because adults have tried to do the survey for their child, but it turns out that these surveys, since they're Google Forms, can only be completed with an ACES account. So students will need to either go through their Student Square app or go through their Student Square on their laptop.
Okay.
So that's all I really had to say about that post and the rooming assignments.
Okay, I'm going to turn over to Susan Zanker, who's our school nurse. She'll be helping us walk through the process of any medical needs that need to be addressed. Susan will come up front and she'll be in the camera's view someplace so she can talk to you and also be recorded as well in the process.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan. I think I've at least spoken with all of you at least once over the few years. It's a really exciting trip. The kids are always looking forward to it. And my role is to make sure your kids get there safely and have a safe trip while they're there. So there's quite a bit that goes into it on our end of things to prep to get your kids there. And because of that, there are certain deadlines that have been set. So those of you that are here have received a packet of information. I'm going to ask the team teachers to send them home with other students tomorrow if your child is, or if you are not here this evening. So you'll get the paperwork. Please ask your student for it when they come home from school tomorrow. Get it out of the backpack. And I'll go through the reasoning for why we have these deadlines. The first page is just to cover information about the different forms. Form A is what we call the emergency information sheet. And you've probably already done something like this, but that is for the travel group. That's for ETA. This is separate and it's for the ACES staff. It's for the chaperones that are going. It's for the nursing staff on this end. So we know what we need to know for your child to go safely and make sure that we have all the right contact information. It also, Form A, gives permission for the chaperone to act on your behalf. If for some reason your child should get sick or injured on the trip, you're signing permission that they can represent you on the trip and giving insurance information so that they can receive the treatment that they need while they're in DC. The second section is, I'm sorry, going back to the top section, we ask for various contact information. We want both parents, both guardians, or whoever is involved, whoever is the parent or guardian for that child. We want an emergency contact person. We all have very busy lives, and it will be that one phone call that you miss that they need to reach you. So make sure there's someone else that they can reach on your behalf. Health information at the second section. Please fill in any health concerns. I am forever amazed that there are students that I've known since day one of 6th grade, and suddenly they're going to DC in May or June of 8th grade. And that's when I find out about one of their health concerns, because it just didn't present. And it was one of those things like, you know what? I didn't even think to mention it, but it's an important thing because maybe it's something that takes place at bedtime every night. Maybe you have a child who has nightmares or sleepwalks or something goes on that I wouldn't necessarily find out about until something like this happens. This is where I'd like to capture that information. So please be sure to fill that out. We need to know certainly any medical conditions, asthma, allergies, diabetes, if they've had a recent hospitalization, if we get to the day before DC and they suddenly have strep throat. Those are the kinds of things that's important to get back to us. And we have a plan in place. Now, your child can't come with a fever the day of, they can't come with strep throat the day of. But if it's 2 days before, they've been on their antibiotics for 24 hours, they can go. They can go with their antibiotics, but I need the paperwork for them to do so. And I need to be able to train the teacher who will be responsible for giving them their antibiotic. So the second question asks for allergies, whether it's seasonal, environmental, food, insect, medication. Again, all important information for us to know. And then the third section is anything that you might want to share that could help protect your child from any possible embarrassment. Does your child sleepwalk? Does your child bedwet? These things happen. I'm the person to let know this. The only other person I will share it with will be your child's specific chaperone, so that they have somebody there on their side who knows how to address it for them. The next question, will my child require any medication on this trip? Doesn't have to be prescription. If it is any medication that your child needs to take, we need to know about it. And that leads us to Form B.
Another question.
Yes,
Like my daughter needs melatonin to sleep.
yes, we're getting to.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay. Every medication, prescription, non-prescription. If it's something that your child will need to take between the time they leave you on Tuesday morning and they get back on Thursday night, I'm going to need a Form B. Form B is a medication authorization form. This is for anything prescription or non-prescription. It needs to be filled out by your child's medical provider, doctor, nurse practitioner, PA, whoever sees your child, signed by them and signed by you. The only things that students will be allowed to self-carry and self-administer are rescue inhalers like albuterol, an EpiPen, which they would not be responsible for giving it to themselves, but we want them to be carrying it and have it on them in case of an emergency. Nasal sprays, topical cream, if they have like a cortisone cream or something that they need to receive while they're there. I would ask that you then think about the kinds of things that maybe don't have to go for the 2 overnights. Vitamins, unless it's something that your child is being followed with blood levels and it's a very important vitamin, can they take it before they get on the bus Tuesday morning and take it when they get back on Thursday night and just miss Wednesday? That's something for you to decide and maybe discuss with their provider. Anything prescription, anything rescue, emergency, absolutely needs to go with them. So again, Form B gets filled out by the doctor, also gets signed by the parent. The reason for the deadlines on when I need these back, there are always questions. There are always T's to cross, I's to dot. The dose isn't in there, or the timing to give it isn't in there. We need to make sure every order is very, very clear so that we can train a non-medical person to administer this to your child so they get it safely. That being said, anything like Tylenol, Motrin needs a Form B. We need an order for that, non-prescription. So if your child is someone who gets chronic headaches, now's the time to get me that order, the medication for the headaches. They won't carry it themselves, but they'll go to their chaperone, who's going to make sure your child's not feeling sick, and if so, get that addressed. If it's one of their usual headaches, give them a medication, make sure it's lasting the right amount of time. Things like inhalers, that they are allowed to self-carry. If the doctor has checked off may self-carry, self-administer, and you have checked off and signed may self-carry, self-administer on that form, we'll train the teachers. We'll ask your child to let their chaperone know, I was feeling tight, I needed to use my inhaler. What time did you use it? The teacher can keep track, make sure it's lasting the 4 hours it should be. If your child's suddenly having trouble again in, let's say, an hour or two, they may have an order that says allowed to repeat in 20 minutes. Go ahead and repeat it, rest a bit, make sure you're feeling better. If they're not lasting, then it's going to have to go to the next step, and we'll have to have a backup plan in place. Does your child need to be seen at an urgent care? And that will all be arranged if it needs to happen, but we want to try to prevent those things from happening. So, we need a separate Form B for every single medication. So there's one attached to your packet. Please feel free to photocopy the blank one as many times as you need. I also have extras in my office, and I'll give them to the team teachers. Mrs. Carragher and Mrs. Perry will have extra copies, so your students can get them from them. I can use your child's existing order for their EpiPen or albuterol if I already have it. You don't have to get a new one from that for that. So just let me know if you need that. I do prefer medications to be sent from home, not from my supply. If you only have 2 EpiPens, can the one from home go with your child and go back home with your child? That would be preferential. If for some reason you need the one from school, absolutely, I'm happy to send it. But I need to know in advance that I'm sending my supply with the chaperone, so I pack it up in time to go to them. They're leaving like 5, 6 in the morning. I'm not there when they get on that bus. I get it all done by the day before. And if it's not packed up the day before, it won't be going with them. As far as other medications, it needs to be in an individually labeled bottle with their name, the medication, the dose. So if it is, say they're on prednisone, a medication for a steroid for asthma or whatever, and it's 1 tablet a day, I only want the 3 tablets in there if they need to take it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If it is a medication that they're taking in the evening, I only need 2 tablets. I need 1 for Tuesday evening, 1 for Wednesday evening. They can take Thursdays when they get back home to you, Thursday evening. The reverse for the morning med. Give them their meds Tuesday morning, so it's not chaos when they get here to school or get on the bus. Give them their morning doses Tuesday morning. The chaperone will give them their Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. I will be creating spreadsheets for the chaperones that they'll actually sign off for each dose they give. So if your child gets something morning, afternoon, evening, they have something to follow to make sure they're getting it right, giving it at the right time. And then they come back and they tell me, they give me their spreadsheet. So I know it's all been done at the right time, the right way. And they can always reach out to me. They can text me at any time or call. So I want the exact number of tablets in a labeled bottle. When you pack up these medications, whether it is a self-carry, self-administer, or one that the chaperone will be given, I'm asking that they all get sent in to me by May 22nd, another deadline on this form. So the first form, Form A, medical emergency information, that you're going to get that pretty much right at soon after April break. By Monday, May 8th, I need these medication orders, Form B. That's a form you are going to want to get to your child's medical provider as soon as possible. So many doctors' offices now reserve the right 2 weeks to fill out paperwork. So get it to them ASAP so that it can get signed. You can pick it up. Your student can bring it back into school. You can send it to me in Parent Square, whatever works for you, but I need them by May 8th so I can make sure everything's in order in case I need clarification or correction of any orders. The deadline of May 22nd is to send in the medications. So I want all medications sent in, whether it's something that they're going to be allowed to self-carry or something the chaperone will give. If it's a self-carry, I'm just going to check it. I'm going to make sure that it's the right medication, the right dose, has your child's name on it, and it's not expired. And then I'll send it back home with your student to pack to go with them. Medications that are being packed If it is an emergency medicine, like an inhaler or an EpiPen, it goes in their string bag. So it is on the bus with them. It is with them everywhere they go on this trip so that they have it in case of an emergency. Something like a nasal spray or a cream that they're allowed to self-carry goes in a clear Ziploc baggie in their suitcase. They don't need to carry that around. That doesn't need to be on the bus. But there is a suitcase check when they get to school on Tuesday morning. I actually take a photocopy picture of every medication that comes into me that I'm allowing them to self-carry. If what they have in their suitcase doesn't match the photocopy picture I've given the teacher, it's getting pulled out of the suitcase. That's how we're sure kids aren't going with things that they shouldn't have, that we don't know about, that the teacher hasn't been trained on how to administer, and we can keep everybody safe. Let's see. You will get your empty labeled bottles back at the end of the trip. If you don't have a second set of bottles, and say you have 90 tablets or something, and I only need 2 or 3, go to the pharmacy. They will give you an empty labeled medication bottle for that medication that you can use specifically for this trip. Motion sickness. Bus ride. It's really long there, and it's really long back. There's also a boat ride while they're in DC. Kids get motion sickness on the boat. Some kids have never been on a boat before and don't know. Talk to the provider about that as well. That's also, it's not a prescription medication, but it's something I would need a Form B filled out for your child to be able to get it. You could again give it to your child before they get on the bus Tuesday morning. But if you want them to get one before the ride back on Thursday, we need that Form B and the teacher will administer it. If your child needs it for the boat ride, they're going to get it again. So I apologize, I didn't look at the itinerary. I think the boat ride is the first night.
Second night.
Second night. Okay, good. Some years we've had the kids getting it in the morning and again before the boat in the evening. So first day if they need it for the bus, second day before if they need it for the boat, third day before the bus coming home. Try to look, there's a new non-drowsy formula of motion sickness medication. Try to find that for your child so they're not sleeping. We don't care if they sleep on the bus, but not sleeping through the boat ride. They want to be aware of that. Seasonal allergies. They're going in June, so we should be past the cherry blossom season that we've hit many years. But if your child suffers from seasonal allergies, get the form filled out so they can take their allergy medicine while they're there. It's going to be hot. Make sure they have their water bottles. Make sure they have their sneakers. They're not wearing cute flip-flops because they're not stopping for blisters or stubbed toes because they're in flip-flops. Make sure they're in sneakers. Sunscreen, very important as well. That they can have in their Ziploc in their suitcase. First aid kits will go with teachers so they can take care of the minor things. We will be notified of local urgent care centers, which shouldn't need, but if we do, that they know where to go to. COVID this year, there are not set COVID guidelines as far as testing is not required to go on the trip. But if a student were to have COVID-like symptoms, they could get tested while they're there if they need to. Dr. LaBanca would reach out to a parent and say, your child has this symptom. Would you like them to take a COVID test? He would be able to supervise them doing so. They would self-administer. He would just supervise. If by chance they had COVID on the trip, you'd have to make arrangements to come get them. They would be kept in a private hotel room until someone came to get them with supervision. If it's not COVID, but they needed medical attention, one of the staff members would get them to an urgent care to get medical attention. I think that is what I have. Does anybody have questions for me medically? Oh, I'm sorry.
So let's take, one more thing, okay?
Yep.
But then we'll take questions from here first, and then we'll go to people online for questions second.
So the other thing is, if your child has any other chronic conditions, that is something that we have a plan in place for in school. Please reach out to me so we can make that plan work on the trip. If your child ends up on crutches the week before the trip, that's going to be an issue because they are walking 8 to 10 miles every single day of this trip. And I just verified that with the team, the trip organizer. They need to be able to walk 8 to 10 miles. So if they have an injury, we'll get a plan in place, but we need to know about it. If there is any other type of thing that they're going to need someone to check in with them or at a certain time, we need to know about it. So don't, what I'm saying is just don't withhold information. Give us time to get a plan in place so we can get your kids there.
For the Advil or Tylenol, do you want like a brand new bottle? Because obviously we don't know how many
Right.
or, they're gonna need.
So I prefer the smallest size bottle possible of anything. Sometimes with things like Advil, Tylenol, Zyrtec, you can get the individual little packets. That your child really shouldn't need more than, hopefully not even more than 1 or 2 doses of Tylenol or Advil. If you want to send 4 doses, 6 doses, something like that. If you can't find the little package, just get the smallest bottle. You can pour some out at home, send me the capsules in the bottle. I'll just do a pill identifier to make sure what's in the bottle matches the label.
Any other questions from people in the room? Okay, people on Zoom, are there any questions? I think everyone's currently muted. I've muted everybody, so if someone wants to talk, you're gonna need to unmute yourself. You don't have to talk.
There was a question in the chat about if the forms are being distributed tomorrow. I just want to confirm that I heard right, that the nurse will be giving that to the team leaders tomorrow, and the team leaders tomorrow will be handing them out to the students.
Yes, and I have a packet with each student's name already ready to go, so we know everybody's getting one. They will be sent home tomorrow. Please check backpacks for them after school tomorrow. And please pay attention to due dates.
Other questions?
Yes, I have a question. My daughter currently wears a brace for scoliosis, but the doctor had reduced it to only at nighttime. But it's something that she needs assistance with. Would she be supported with that?
We will make sure that she has a chaperone who is comfortable and willing to assist your daughter with that.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Sure.
Go ahead, nice and loud.
My daughter has severe allergies of everything.
Yeah.
She takes an allergy medicine every single evening, but she also has a rescue tablet in case she needs it. Is that something she would self-carry, or is that something that I would put in her bag?
So those are called PRN medications, the as needed medications, and thank you for asking this. Everyone has some as needed medications like Tylenol, like Motrin, like motion sickness medicine. Allergy medicine can also be an as needed. Make sure that Form B is written that way, that there is the once a day dose of Zyrtec or whatever it is. And then there's a second Form B that says Singulair 1 tablet or whatever the next medication is as needed for allergy symptoms up to 1 time a day or every 12 hours, however the doctor's writing it. The teachers will have 1 page of daily medications, the ones that they have to give at a certain time, and then 1 page of as needed medications that they can refer to if a student comes to them and says, my allergies are killing me. Some kids need eye drops, and sometimes the provider just writes and says, you know what, get started on it. Allergy medicine, get started on it the week before they go, so it's time to really kick in before they even go. Because sometimes it takes a week to 10 days to start working. And then if they need an extra dose, yes, as long as we have the order for the as needed dose, it can be given.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you,
Okay,
and I'm always available by phone or parents where you can message me.
and obviously Susan is taking and giving you the extreme precaution situation. I think in the 10 or 12 trips that I've done over my lifetime, probably more than that, I can remember 2 medical situations that came up. One was a student who twisted his ankle, and the other was a teacher that banged his head, and that was the bigger deal. So it's generally a very safe trip, but we want to be prepared just in case. The likelihood is that we're not going to be a concern, but we just want to make sure just everything is in place just in case.
Could you remind us of the dates of the travel, please?
The dates for the due dates for forms or for the trip,
No, the trip, please.
June 6th through the 8th, Tuesday to Thursday.
Thank you. June 6th to the 5th. Thank you.
Okay. I will give a couple of heads up to parents ahead of time too. Students should not be packing gaming consoles. Those can stay at home. Anything, any liquid that the student brings must be in a sealed container and may not be opened. And we do not want energy drinks or milk-based beverages. So if they come in the morning with their Dunkin' Frappuccino, it's gonna be tossed. It's not getting on the bus. Okay, so everything must be in a sealed container, not opened. Bags will be inspected, leave the gaming consoles at home. We'll go over this with the students as well, but we want to make sure everything is appropriate for the trip. And we'll have a more detailed list for them. So Lily or Charlie, is there anything else you want to add at this point?
No, I can't think of anything right now.
Nope.
We will do a sit-down meeting with the students to go over expectations and review everything. For parents, I'll turn this recording and I'll post it for you. So that will be available as a recording if anyone wants to go back and review any of the details as well. If there are no other questions at this time, so we'll go last call on questions. Anybody else?
We're just really excited.
Yeah, and then you should be excited. We will take very good care of your children. They will be fine. If this is your oldest child, this is like one of your first releases, don't worry, it'll be okay. We will.
There's no
bring you
question
back.
about it. You've always been taken care of since day one. You've always done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, I'll post this.
Excuse me.
and- Go
Excuse me,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Go ahead.
sorry.
That's okay. We're here for you.
So I'm just a little nervous because maybe I've missed this and I apologize, with everyone having multiple kids, sometimes it's hard to keep up with emails and such, but has there been an outline that was sent out, like more detailed outline, more so than when we first kicked this off, where it says like, drop off time requirements, pickup time, or and some of this information in it, like some kind of outlined information printable form that the parents can reference other than this meeting? I mean, I took about 3 pages of notes, but I'm worried that I might be missing something.
So Lily, has the itinerary gone to parents?
The itinerary has not gone to parents. We have a PowerPoint that describes all the itinerary from days 1 through 3, also has suggestions for what to pack. And we can send that out through Parent Square. So you have
Right.
that.
Okay,
get
so
posted.
the itinerary, which or the PowerPoint, which gives all this information like packing and stuff,
Yeah.
and it includes itinerary, that has not gone out yet. Do you know when that will go out, or if it's just like sometime, like rough estimate?
I think it will come out pretty soon. I just want to make sure it's finalized by the travel agency. And once all those details are finalized, I will send it out.
Okay, so
Okay.
there
I
is
will get-
something on the educational travel adventures, that what's out there now, that itinerary, it says it's subject to change, but it does have information out there broken down by day, because I printed it out.
Okay,
And that's the same
we'll make-
information that's in the PowerPoint.
So it's
So
the same
whatever's
thing
on
that hasn't
ETS
changed.
is what we have, is what we have. So unless ETS changes it, that's what it is until it changes.
Okay,
I will
that's,
say the thing that we have to be flexible with is return time. So we'll have an estimate of when the return time comes, but we will certainly have your children send you messages and progress that we're expected at such and such a time. But you never know what happens when you hit the Jersey line, trying to get through New York City. Sometimes you get delayed in those situations. So we'll have an estimation, but I would kindly ask that you keep in touch with your child on that, and we'll make sure if your child somehow burns their phone through or whatever, we'll make sure they get that message to you, because our teachers who are going all have to come to work the next day. We want them to be able to go home and get a little bit of rest.
So I know you said no gaming consoles, but what about backup battery for their phone?
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's covered. And we
Well,
will,
I know it's got a battery in it, so.
right, I mean, and there are some portable units, like
Yeah,
kids,
that's what I'm talking,
that's fine.
okay.
But if we see the cabling, we're, you know, to hook it up to the TV in the hotel room, we're gonna yank that, so. Okay,
There were a few other questions.
Excuse me, I have a question.
go ahead, Rana.
Hi, are chaperones gonna be on the same floor as the children? Like, is it like kids are roomed,
Yes.
chaperones right next door?
Generally, that's the case, but I will let you know that part of using a company, you get some perks with that, and one of the perks is we have on-call security all night long. So there will be security people in the hallways all night long. They stay up all night long, so they're there to support kids. So if there is a problem, the child can reach out to the security person who will be up and awake, and available, and if there's an emergency, they'll come to one of the chaperones to take care of that issue.
Is it all one floor?
Okay,
It
Or you don't know
depends,
yet?
it depends, we don't know yet. That's really dependent on the hotel and how many school
It's a way
groups they have.
smaller- Way smaller school, you know, when we went with a big school.
Right.
And it was boys on one floor, girls on another.
Yeah, I mean, we have 100 or so going,
Right.
divide by 4, that's 25 rooms.
Yeah, that's way. smaller.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There are a few other questions in the chat.
Okay, welcome a little closer, you can answer them.
So the first question is this the last time we'll be meeting on this topic? So this is the last in-person meeting.
Yes.
However, information will be coming out on the Parent Square app, so please keep checking that. You'll get the PowerPoint presentation that Ms. Carragher just mentioned. That's going to give you the 3-day itinerary of what your kids are doing. It will give you the packing list of what to pack. We pretty much told you what not to pack. No gaming tools, no substances, no things that they should not be bringing to school, probably shouldn't be going on the trip. They can bring their cell phone, but talk to them about social media too. Those are the other kinds of things that we'll go over at the behavioral meeting of expectations. What time is drop off and pickup?
So
So-
I'm not sure what the answer to that question is, we'll have that information. It
Okay.
will likely be 6-ish in the morning, 5:30 to 6 in the morning, because we do have to do bag inspections in the morning.
And at the estimated time back right now, I've been told is about 10 p.m. The next question was, what is the student to chaperone ratio? Mrs. Carragher's answer was 1 to 12, one staff member to 12 students. Question is there an itinerary for daily activities? Yes, that will be on the PowerPoint you'll receive. What kind of clothes? They're working on t-shirts.
So we'll have a T-shirt for the child for one day. That'll be the second day. Everyone wears the same T-shirt. My best guess for clothing is really shorts, T-shirts, socks and shoes, sneakers. That's the best wear. We do have one night on the boat, so sometimes kids want to have something a little fancy to put on for that. That's a change en route type of thing, so they can have a nice outfit, but really comfortable clothing, school appropriate, basically, is what I would say.
I haven't seen day 2's itinerary yet, but in past years, they didn't even have time to change. So what they wore out at 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. is what they wore when they got to the boat, but they were all wearing the same thing anyway. A rain poncho or some sort of rain gear is advisable if they do hit a rainy day. They're gonna want it, or they're walking around in the rain in sneakers all day. Will we need to just pack snacks and food for the bus ride?
I think so. And I mean, I've inspected plenty of boys' suitcases, which are 3/4 food and 1/4, like 2 pairs of underwear and socks and a pair of shorts. So that's fine. Just make sure it's in closed containers. That's all I'm asking for.
And please also be aware of allergies. Ask your kids not to just share with everybody. We do have kids with certain food allergies as well. And talk to your kid who has food allergies and make sure they're aware of what they can and cannot eat. That's something else I should have addressed, actually. They may be going to food courts when they're buying lunch on their own or dinner on their own. Talk to your student if they do have certain food allergies, that they know the questions to ask when they go to the food court, that they can ask, could this have cross-contamination with peanut or tree nut or shellfish, so that your child can advocate for themselves on this trip. It's a great learning experience in their independence going on to high school, that they can manage this on their own. And in past years, I don't know if they're doing it this year or not, they've gotten cases of water for the bus and they've gotten some snacks for the bus. So I don't know.
I don't know
I
that.
don't know if Mrs. Perry and Mrs. Carragher have looked into that yet, but yes, snacks.
Yeah, I had a question. I know everything has to be on sealed containers. So should we pack them water bottles, like especially if so are they gonna be able to have that, like say, in their room? Or do you think it'll be best, like if we just donate so that or bring cases, just so that my child's not worried about carrying?
So I'm gonna recommend you reach out to the team leaders and ask
Okay.
how they want to proceed with that.
Okay,
And an empty water bottle to go on the trip that they can refill and take with them every day while they're out sightseeing. They want to have a refillable water bottle with them. Don't send them with coffee with cream in the morning, though.
That's getting thrown. I'm just gonna tell you right now that it's not getting.
That spills, the whole bus smells by day 2.
Yeah.
What's the policy on bringing cash, kids bringing cash?
So that's usually a family decision. They don't need a lot of cash because everything's paid for. So really the only reason they would need some cash is if they want to purchase a few souvenirs. I would say the $20 to $50 range is going to be more than enough. Yep,
Thank you.
no problem.
So obviously personal hygiene products you have to bring. Does the hotel provide shampoo, conditioner, body wash?
That is generally in there or bar soap.
I
is
just
in
didn't
there.
know.
And we will, oh yeah, so that's something, moms and dads and parents and guardians. Everyone takes a shower before they come. Everyone has to take a shower. So
And definitely bring deodorant, yes.
have to help us out with that one. They need showers before we get on the bus with 50 of them.
Question, I'm going to assume boys and girls will be watched and to try not to share rooms.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why we have security.
Yes.
Yep.
I do have a question about that. Because I know that my daughter has spoken to me about girls who identify as boys and boys who identify as girls, so how is that going to be separated?
So I'm not, I think you can talk to the team leaders about that. I'm not sure the details on that. Talk to them separately about that.
Will buses be provided for pickup and drop off, or do we have to drop them off and pick them up?
You're going to have to drop off and pick up. We do not provide transportation to or from school on those days. Obviously, there can be extreme hours, 6 in the morning, late at night, 9, 10 at night. So you have to provide transportation for those.
Mrs. Carragher replied, I'm going to assume that there's no room sharing. Absolutely no room sharing was her answer. And will buses be provided? Buses will pick up and drop off from Chase. So you.
I think that means the
drop off
coaches.
at
That's the
Chase.
coaches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is food included in the price? Or
Yes.
should we send spending money for food as well?
I believe all the meals are covered with probably the exception of a stop on the return home just to get us home. So but meals are all covered.
Check the PowerPoint. There was
Yeah,
something
and it
about
could say
sending
exactly what
food
meals.
for certain meals for
Right.
stops. Will parents get access to the contact information for chaperones?
Yes, there's usually, we'll have a way to contact us. When it's reached.
And in past years, they've also shared some sort of app so that.
Usually through
students
Parent Square is
contact-
the easiest way to do it anyway.
the students need to be able to contact their chaperone also, so sometimes they are allowed to go off for short amounts of time in small groups. This way they always can reach each other and find each other. Chaperone contact information will not be provided to parents. They'll have a messaging app according to Mrs.
Right, so you can get, so your access to your chaperones is through Parent Square.
Who are the chaperones? That will come out, I imagine,
Yeah,
from the
well,
PowerPoint as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I also saw a question about the contact information from parents. Will it be shared to chaperones? Yes, the forms that I collect, your child's chaperone will get a copy of Form A with the medical information, contact information. They'll get copies of Form B and they'll be trained on the medications.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You know what, on that SNAP note, can we send nuts or no nuts?
We're not a nut-free school. We just are nut aware. So we ask that you talk to your child, with just being aware.
I mean, if it's avoidable, obviously.
Yeah, I'm just saying like sometimes she'll like cashews, should I just not even bother to send them? Like-
I think if there's another option of something she'd eat, that's just,
Yeah.
better for everybody.
Those are the toughest.
So we're not gonna say no, but,
Yeah.
member of the community,
Don't-
let's avoid that.
Right.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. we'll turn this meeting, like I said, into a video that'll be posted on the website. Have a good evening, everyone. And those of you that have to run back to Roller Magic, we'll see you there.
Thank you,
Thank
teachers
you.
and principal. Appreciate it.
Thank you.